should you add your spouse's name to the deed to your home?
Chrissy, that's a question that in my 40 years of law practice I've gotten many, many times. And it's something that's got to be handled kind of delicately. And, sometimes I'm asking people questions, and they probably don't know why I'm asking people those questions. And my first question to that person that asked me this question would be, how long have you been married? And if they say, I've been married a year, that's one thing. If they say I've been married for 30 years, that's another thing. If they tell me that they've been married for just a year, I would try in a gentle way, trying to persuade them to let that marriage season a little bit before they consider adding their spouse's name to the deed. Because, in the state of Florida, if you get divorced, you leave whatever assets that you brought into the marriage.
Right.
But if you, after a 1-year marriage, add your spouse's name to the deed and you get divorced, he or she's going to leave with one half that house because you deeded it into their name. So that's kind of my general rule of thumb with people, and I think generally they get it. And sometimes, let's say that the wife calls me and says, "Tom, I really want my husband. The home is in my husband's name only." Actually, no, let's say this. The husband calls me and says, "Tom, my wife really wants me to add her name to the deed to our home. We've only been married for a year." I say, "Look, let your marriage season a little bit." And he goes, "Well, gosh, what am I going to tell her?" And I say, "Do this. Do a will. Where in that will you leave the home to your wife. I'll do that will for you. Show her a copy of that will, and that's going to make her feel better. And then a few years down the road, things still going smoothly, then consider adding her name to the deed." So simply doing a will accomplishes the same thing, but it gives them options going forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You like that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Because, there's always the feel-good factor, too, I mean, I can understand why if the house is in just one spouse's name, I can understand there's a feel-good factor on both ends by adding that other spouse's name to the deed. And, if we can't add the spouse's name to the deed, then simply doing a will is going to, give us that feel-good factor. And by the way, sometimes a married couple come to me and, they've been married for 30 years and they bought their house 30 years. And for one reason or another, the house ended up in just his name or just her name. Why? Because on the day of the closing, only one of them was available to sign paperwork. So they just, it got put into one spouse's name at the very beginning, not for any good reason. It just happened to be that way. And absolutely, positively, that'd be a time that you'd want to add your spouse's name to the deed with a long-term marriage like that.